Hello and welcome back to another Board Crazy review. My name is D, and today I'll be talking about Smartphone Inc. with...
Oh, we're talking about Smartphone Inc.?
Yep.
I came prepped for the wrong game. Hey everybody, I'm Will, and I'm totally prepared.
Yep. Before we get reviewing Smartphone Inc., we're going to run my introduction to the game from our gameplay video, which is also available here on YouTube if you haven't checked that out. So, at the very least, you'll have some understanding of how the game kind of works. So here that goes. Smartphone Inc. is a game for 1 to 5 players, designed by Ivan Lashin and published by Cosmodrome Games and Arcane Wonders. In this game, the players are the CEOs of startup smartphone companies who are looking to become the world's dominant brand by securing patents and expanding into new markets. To set up the game, each player receives a screen, all of the pieces of a single color, and 2 pads, one with a white symbol and one with a black symbol. Each player then places an office marker for free on the home region shown on their screen, and a goods marker on the victory point board on the space matching their color. Also, in games with 2 to 4 players, certain regions on the map get covered with retailers. These retailers prevent players from selling their goods in those regions, but still offer rewards for placing offices there via logistics. Games are played over 5 rounds, with each round consisting of 8 phases. We'll go over most of the phases in greater detail as we actually play the game, but the first phase, planning, is the most important and largely determines what happens in the remaining 7. During planning, players must arrange their 2 pads behind their screens so that one pad covers anywhere from 1 to 4 cells on the other pad. Once arranged, the cells that remain visible are used to determine the player's prices and production for the round, while each cell that was covered up produces 1 additional good. Players will also be able to collect upgrades throughout the game that can be placed on top of or layered between the pads, but cells that are covered by upgrades do not produce additional goods. Using these visible cells, players will then be able to research technologies in order to claim their patents and expand into neighboring markets using logistics. Also, at the end of each round, goods produced can be sold to regions where a player's business is present, so long as they meet the local buyer's requirements. Selling goods and controlling regions is the main way that players will earn victory points throughout the game. At the end of the 5th round, players tally up their scores by simply adding the victory points from the retailers they're present at and from the patents they've collected to the points that they've already accumulated throughout the game. And of course, the player who then has the most victory points is the winner. Now, let's get started. Okay, so that was the introduction.
It was good, D. It might have been some of your finest work.
Indeed.
I don't know, I haven't watched it.
Now to talk about the game, Smartphone Inc. Yeah, this is a game, I feel like if this is a game that you've not played, or if you haven't watched us play it for some reason, and you've maybe seen pictures of it, or just have a vague understanding of you know, what goes on, you might get the sense that this game is a little daunting, maybe?
Yeah.
You might get that impression, but I really couldn't be farther from the truth. Which isn't to say that this game is shallow, but it's surprisingly accessible, I found. I was kind of afraid, you know, every time you see a rule book that you can flip through like this, you're like, okay, I've got a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. But everything, you know, it's very intuitive. It all makes sense. The iconography all, you know, works out well.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I agree with you.
You disagree, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying I disagree.
You completely disagree.
I would say that I've played games of similar weights that are more intuitive than this. However, your general point that when you look at the components, you look at images of this game, you look through the rulebook, you're thinking, you know, a heavier weight Euro kind of game, and you're right, it's not. No.
So I guess we can start talking about specifics. We should start with the pads, I guess, because that's kind of the big thing in this game. They're how you run your business, more or less, and they're good. I like them a lot. They're maybe I don't know if they're my favorite part of the game, but they're really well done. And I don't know if I can say with any confidence that this is like a new or unique sort of mechanic, but it's not. It's definitely not one you see
every day
often. It's not overused, and I think it's really enjoyable.
It's definitely a game within a game almost. Like I like it sometimes when when I play a board game, it almost feels like there's a mini game within it that you get to play and enjoy.
Yeah.
Because it just adds to the overall,
And if it wasn't clear from the introduction, you just kind of like overlay these with each other, and whatever symbols are showing determines what your business is capable of that round.
And however many spots are covered determines how many extra goods you're going to be getting.
Exactly. It's a fun. Yeah, you're right. It's like a fun little extra like game every round.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle for you to solve, sort of, but it's a puzzle without a defined solution. Rather, it's one where you have to try to make everything work in the best way you can for the strategy you're going for. Plus, you get the what do they call it? The improvements. Of course, you start with one, you get more, or you can at least get more, depending on how you use the pad. And that adds extra bits of complexity to your puzzle then each round.
Yeah, perhaps too much complexity sometimes.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I do like the improvements. I like that you can add to these. These are already sort of tricky to like pick which side,
which
double-sided orientation you want. Getting to add more is nice, but I think only to an extent. I do think that most people are going to get to a point in the game where it's not as advantageous to play the yellow symbol to collect more, so they're just going to use the ones that they have, and I still think that after you get like 2 or 3 more, it can become a little more daunting than I would like. It feels kind of clunky, is what I'm trying to say, for a number of reasons, but when you have like 3 or 4 thick of these, cardboard tiles stacked, it's really easy to bump them. It's also really easy to forget which ones you're covering, and then you end up uncovering them, and then you forget the orientation that you just had. That happened to me. It may not happen to a lot of people, but I don't have great visual short-term memory, and I think a lot of people are going to struggle. They're going to get it perfect, and they're going to get OCD and min-max it, and then they're going to mess stuff up. And pretty much any other action selection system I would find preferable than the one that exists in this game once you get to like the 4th or 5th round.
Well, I disagree entirely. I didn't have any of the troubles you did. I thought it was pretty easy. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good for the most part. I really didn't have any problems with the pads or the improvements or anything like that.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to depend, I guess, what kind of play style you or what kind of person, how your brain works. So if you're not a big a visual puzzle sort of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the layering system with the way that you get goods for covering up more cells, as they call them. I think that worked for a good balance there as a way to...
I thought it was kind of clunky, though. Again, it's another thing where it's like when you have, 5 layers, right? And then you're trying to get to how many of the...
You're not going to have 5 layers. I mean,
no,
as far as
I had 4 at one point.
As far as knowing how many are covered, it can be kind of difficult. I will agree with you there. But in terms of the balance of the game, the way that covering up more cells produces more goods at the cost of having more...
I agree, especially because at one point you're going to be like, I need more goods and I need actions, and then you have to figure out the balance. That is interesting. Yeah.
All right, so that's a lot. We've talked about these a lot. We move on to other parts of the gameplay. I feel like the technologies and the patents, that part of the game, it's not super deep. Obviously, it's just produce the amount of progress you need in order to get that patent or technology. Yeah. But I do like them, not only for the extra abilities. I feel like they add a level of thematic immersion to the game that I think they make a lot of sense within the theme of the game.
I agree with you that they are, that they fit in with the game thematically, but also I think they spice up what is otherwise maybe a little bit. I think you could say otherwise the gameplay is a little flat in this one. There's not much variance to what you're going to be doing round in and round out.
No.
So what I'm saying is the basic actions are just you put some people here, that opens up a new zone, then I'm going to sell some goods there. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially it. Without the technologies, I do think the game would be very stale, and so it's good that they're there to give you these extra actions, these extra abilities to manipulate the board and what you can do. And it's also really commendable that they found a way to make them fit in with the theme. Because sometimes games, when they're like, wait, we need to add some extra stuff to spice it up, they just throw stuff in unnecessarily that doesn't really fit, and these really do.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, people are going to want to buy phones that are more advanced and have more features. So.
Either 4G or they can play games, stuff like that.
Exactly. So I agree. I don't know that I agree that the game is otherwise lacking in interest or intrigue. Like I do think there's fun to be had in terms of the logistics and sort of determining where to spread out with your business.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to consider the priority order, who's going to be selling where, so you have to might consider, okay, they're going to try to block me here, maybe I should go over here and kind of undercut them in that way or something like that.
Or some countries are major markets like the USA or China. Some are like South Africa. Not that many spots to sell.
No.
So you want to make sure you get there.
And you can easily get dominance there then. But it's not going to reward you as much, but you can scare people off. So, I don't know. I think both the technology and the logistics are kind of equally enjoyable.
If you're someone who likes economy games,
which this is,
you're going to really get the kick out of it. Yeah. In our sessions of this, I have noticed that the more and more you learn this game, the more similar you and your opponent's moves are going to end up being. In our gameplay video, there's visual evidence that I think on maybe 2 or 3 of the 5 rounds, we had the exact same setup.
Yeah.
Which is that's not coincidence after 2 or 3 out of 5 turns. That's that just shows you that what is most valuable is the same for everyone. So they're going to be going after it.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I entirely agree. I think there are different strategies you can take in this game. We both, I think, were going heavy on technology early, as opposed to logistics and selling.
Yeah.
Which is, fine. I think you could go another way. I do think the game has a problem, though, in that instance where if you have 2 or more people who are doing the same strategy, then it strongly favors the person who has priority. Significantly favors them. Because you're doing the same stuff, they're gonna take all the best stuff first, pretty much.
Oh yeah, and I know that because that happened literally every round of our game.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a weird thing where your priority, it's often your priority's not even if you don't have it, it's not even your own fault. Sometimes it can just be the color you're playing because that's how it gets started at the beginning. You get different victory point totals on here, and then that determines the priority order, and then the prices go up and down. Obviously, then that will determine it for the rest of the round. But yeah, it's one of these unfortunate situations where because a person gets to take or replace all of their pieces at once before anyone else, there's actually an advantage to trailing for a while and then making a big move at the end of the game in the last couple rounds to sort of overtake.
The fact that it's encouraging this much conversation just goes to show that we're really passionate about it in perhaps different ways. But I think I'm just saying that's inherently a good sign about a game when you want to have these kind of conversations and you're able to. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no self-aggrandizing. I'm just pointing that out. Let's look back to theme.
Theme, okay.
Because I think it's probably my favorite thing about this game.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange. Okay. Why?
Because the game really felt to me like I was running a smartphone company.
Okay.
And not just like I was running some vague other... some games are just I'm going to create an economics game and throw a theme on there. It doesn't really matter what it is. This is a smartphone game. I don't think many other themes would work.
I would agree that the theme is very well implemented.
Yeah.
In that respect, I wouldn't say it's my favorite part of the game personally. I don't.
No. I mean, I was. Just
I don't know that I find the theme particularly interesting. Running a smartphone company, big capitalism sort of thing. There are things that I.
All right, communist.
Not that. It's just I don't know. It's not the most appealing in the world to me.
I mean, you're still using a flip phone, so.
This is my flip phone. Watch it. Hey.
He just broke it. He just broke his phone. Yeah, but remember how I said I wanted to come back to these?
Oh yeah, you did. What do you want to say about those? I forgot.
And I kind of already looped back to them a little bit, but this is one of my major sticking points, is that everything else in this game feels like it was an intentional effort to fit with the theme, and that's why the gameplay the gameplay mechanics were designed the way they are. How is this at all
It's like,
fit in with the theme,
I mean,
the theme
it's
of
a
smartphone.
concession,
I get that they
obviously.
look like app buttons, you know, and this is almost
true.
like a phone screen. But like, this just doesn't feel like it. Like everything else in this game fits in with the theme, and then you get to this, and I'm like, what does this have to do? I maybe like the idea of like if you're running a major company like this, you're going to be shuffling a lot of things, and you're going to have to like prioritize.
I could say that. I feel like I wouldn't look at it so literally. I think it's just okay, this is our business strategy. And that's all there is to it. It's just a way of representing that in a game.
They just wanted to create a fun puzzle.
It's more interesting than just, I'm going to do these, and just like picking them out.
I can't be the only person who felt that way. So it's like, why? But it is fun. I'm not saying it's not fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's just interesting.
Which is really all that matters in the end.
I don't know if I would have made that choice, but whatever.
All right. Components are great, though.
Well, this is a newer edition of the game.
It's all really well done, though. The board is particularly great. I don't know if we need to get it out here because it's buried under here, but you can see it in our gameplay video. We probably have pictures of it. Maybe you have one up now.
Yeah.
With all like the different recessed spaces for your little plastic bits that you have to put on the board and everything.
And everything fits well.
Everything fits amazingly well. Like the technologies and the patents fit perfectly into their little holes. So yeah, real great.
Yeah, I kind of wish the board was smaller. This is
huge.
A massive table space game. Because
That
not
is
only
true.
is you have the board, and the board is big. It's one of
Yeah.
the bigger boards I think that we have. But then you also need to have space for your screen, and then these tiles will be behind your
scoreboard.
screen as you rotate them. The scoreboard.
That is definitely a good point. If you're someone who has limited table space for gaming, that's something to keep in mind. You might have to get a little creative if this is something you really, really want to play. Because it definitely does come at a premium. But everything else is produced very well. I think the rulebook's great. I didn't have any questions after reading the rulebook.
The rulebook has a lot of images.
Yeah.
It's very thorough. I really liked it.
I had no issues there. The only complaint I have with the product itself is the box.
Why did they do this?
Look, man, it's 2020. I shouldn't have to use an internet video to figure out how to clean up a board game, okay?
Yeah. And you're not the only one. Okay, so after we were done playing this, and you were so adamant about how this game sucks to clean up and get everything to fit this nicely it's like a puzzle in and of itself. And then I checked comments on Board Game Geek, and there are so many people who are like, "Why is this game so hard to clean up?"
Yeah. Okay. Should we wrap it up, Will? Give it scores.
Final scores and thoughts of D.
Okay. Hold on. Let me look at my thoughts here. So, I do stars. You do letters. Random letters too, not even like the normal ones.
I'm giving this a Z+.
I think this is a good game. I don't know if it's a great game. I don't know if I think I'd go that far, but I think it's good. I think it might have more appeal as like a gateway game than something that's going to thrill enthusiasts of the medium. Because it's so accessible. A very streamlined gameplay. Very to use the E word, I would say it's elegant. But yeah, like I said, I do have some concerns about replayability and sort of a like sameness in terms of how it might play from one session to the next. But yeah, really well produced, very very easy to get into. I'm gonna give it 4 stars out of 5, just to be clear.
I couldn't help but to notice, even while I was enjoying myself, that, like you said, it does play a little samey. You're going to have experiences game in and game out, especially as you get more familiar with the game. You're going to just notice that you and your opponents are going to start to do similar things. Could you be any more distracted? But one thing I think we can all agree on is that components are great, and it feels like a high-end product.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree that it's an entry-level game. I think it's just a difficulty level above that.
But anyway, what's your score, Will?
I think I'm going to give this game, I don't know. See, we have the expansion.
We do have an expansion.
So this score I'm going to say that this score is pending, just like your score is pending, because it could improve.
Well, it's not pending. I'm giving this in the box 4 stars.
Okay. I think I'm going to give this a B-.
B-
for now.
All right.
I'm really curious how the expansion is going to affect my overall opinion of the game as a entire product. Because I've heard the expansion is quite good, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm hoping when we do get to play it, we can play it with Graham.
Hopefully we have room. If it's with Graham, we'll have room then, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, we'll do the expansion. Hopefully we'll be getting to that sometime in the near future.
Yep.
A lot of games to play though, Will. Thanks for enjoying. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, give us that thumbs up. Always appreciate the thumbs up. If you want to give us a thumbs down, I guess you can too, but it makes Will cry.
I don't cry.
Makes Will cry. Tears. Also, leave any comments you have for us. If we're completely wrong about the game, let us know how. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are all linked to in the description below. Subscribe to the channel, obviously, and hit the notification bell so you know when our videos come out, such as our next gameplay video. NASCAR.
It's a NASCAR game.
It's not true. Are there any NASCAR board games?
There are.
Really?
Yeah, there's one game called Pit Crew that we've never played.
No, we haven't. I didn't know it existed until just now. Well, that's not what we're playing. We're playing something else. We hope you come back for that. So thank you again for watching. Until next time, goodbye.
See you next time, everybody.